I'm enjoying to be in Canada because I left my family and my husband and my children. I really missing them.
My dream was to go there and like change everything, but it seems like it's really got to be step by step, and it seems like I might be spending those 6 months just finding out what they need.
Through the internship program, we send young Canadians, university graduates from anywhere across Canada. They come to the Institute for an 8-month program. They come here to the campus first and are immersed in the world at the Coady International Institute with our international leaders who are studying here, and they get a preparation before they go out to a placement to work with one of Coady Institute's graduates or partner organizations overseas.
I think I'm going to take my place from here forward, bringing people together like wherever I can. I love that idea.
My name's Chantal Pali, and I'm going to Ecuador to work with a company called Kambikiwa, and they produce, process, and export medicinal and aromatic plants.
And my name is Maria Trimble, and I'm going to Huancayo, Peru, and I'll be working with Caritas.
And my name is Crystal Milligan, and I'm going to Kigali, Rwanda, to work with the Youth Association for Human Rights.
Emily Nunn from Halifax. Emily will be working with Oxfam Hundi in Ethiopia.
I'll be going to Ethiopia, and I'll be there living in the city for 6 months. I'm actually pretty excited about it because part of the reason I wanted to do this program was to have an independent adventure. We're in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and today we're at the Oxfam Canada office. And while I'm here, I'm working with Oxfam Canada and a local grassroots organization called Hundi. When you think about the principles of the Antigonish movement, they're so simple and so straightforward and so applicable to what's going on in the world today. And they really were the foundation of not only the Coady Institute, but a lot of the programs that are going on in places like Ethiopia. So we're going to a community called Iluwaga in central Ethiopia, in the Holeta region. And we're going there today because we have been invited to the opening of a dairy processing plant. So this community started working with Oxfam Canada and its local partner Hundi a few years ago, and they started a process called asset-based community development.
Well, I can introduce myself. My name is Zagay Yasfo. I'm the director of Hundi, a local NGO. Asset-based community development, ABCD. That is a very powerful instrument that tries to bring out the strength of the people. What we are going to inaugurate today is an innovative program which we call a Women's Empowerment Program, which involves delivery of young heifers to women-headed households on an ownership basis, but they have to repay back in live animals. The first offspring, if it is a female, will be distributed to another women-headed households. Women who are organized around heifer groups joined other farmers to establish, this milk collection center.
We take an approach which we call asset-based community development. And that's an approach which doesn't immediately focus on the needs or the problems of the community. The starting point is the same starting point that Moses Coady used, and that is, what have you got going for yourselves? You've got talents. You're capable people. You've got some resources. You've probably got some institutions here in your community, maybe a school or a health center or something like that. What have you got going for yourself, and how can you use those things to improve your lives here in this community?
This is a Tabo community. They are the ABCD community. Before we are entering into this project, we trained by Coady. Okay. ABCD project is depend on the assets that the community have. And the community identified its problem and prioritized and planned road construction. In this way, we started this activity. Females are the most affected people in this community because they are the one who are going to the market who trade fuel wood products that obtained from this area. Pregnant women can easily talk to the nearby health station and can get the service. Okay, the construction of the road improve our family life in such a way that my family took firewood, and even the children easily move to the Sandafa town and get access to education, and we can get different items from the market in a simple way. So in such a way, our life is improved.
Barack Obama, the US president, was schooled in the methods of asset-based community development in his work in Chicago. And also his wife, Michelle, is one of the associates of the Asset-Based Community Development Institute at Northwestern University. And we are partners with that institute. They come from that same belief in the capacity of people. And the yes, we can mantra that you heard during the US election is a mantra that was used by Moses Cody.
You can ask any one of them, they always tell you that we can do it.
We are now back where it all began in Canso, Nova Scotia, at the Stan Rogers Folk Festival, an annual international festival of songwriters dedicated to one of the greatest Canadian songwriters, Stan Rogers. It was here, to Canso, that Father Jimmy Tompkins was banished over 80 years ago, and it's here where he stirred up the local fishermen to do something about their desperate state, thus kickstarting the Antigonish movement. Stanfest is a brilliant homegrown community success story. Troy Greencorn, the artistic director of the festival, was one of the original founders.
The groundfish closure in 1991 basically devastated the economy, so I think that's what pushed us to start the festival and to start at the scope that we did. I think the first festival was in the vicinity of about 7,000 attendees at the first. This year, being year 13, we're probably over 13,000 people. So we've almost doubled in those 13 years. I guess it was probably in university when I first became familiar with Jimmy Tompkins. Instantly I was hooked on the story. I guess sort of the seed of that was the fact that Jimmy was a radical in the sense that he thought differently than others. And it's interesting, he basically was exiled to Canso because he had progressive ideas, too progressive at the time, and luckily for Canso. I think it's really impacted the way I've done things since. What amazes me is it was perceived as radical at his time, but it's so logical and it still fits very much with today.
Study clubs, kitchen meetings, adult education, cooperatives and credit unions, microcredit, asset-based community development. Like links in a chain, they mark the evolution of the Antigonish movement from the early days in Little Dover in the 1920s to today with the Cody International Institute.
The thing about the Antigonish movement is all these people came together and they actually did bring about something on the face of the earth that didn't exist before. And that's a bit of inspiration and genius. And it's a genius that they all share.
You can do it, he said. You can do it.
He gave them confidence that they never would have believed in their wildest days that they had.
Education of the ordinary people. Education was to go outside the box.
Many people aren't aware of the story of the Antigonish movement, and when they do hear about it, they're quite amazed that Nova Scotia has played such a prominent part in the development of cooperatives and credit unions.
The Antigonish movement made a contribution, and the contribution it made is it made people change their thinking. And when they change their thinking, they change some institutions.
Am I just going to adapt to society, what's out there, follow the herd and do what everybody else is doing? Or am I going to try to dream up a better way of doing things?
You've got some brains, but have you got any problems? Well, bring your problems, put them on your intellectual anvil, and go to work on them.
You can do it.